Hi, and welcome to Women That Build. I'm Preet Kershaw.
And I'm Andrew.
Today, we're talking to Ramsey. So, Ramsey, tell us a bit about yourself and your background.
Well, I'm born and raised in Elmhurst, Queens. Just a dad that's, just trying to make a difference in the neighborhood that raised them. I want to give back to the neighborhood that raised me. It's a beautiful place, a lot of culture, and it's time for, a positive change to develop in that area.
Definitely. And you have a lot of experience in this area. And I feel like, your experience and things you've gone through and you've seen can make a difference to Queens, New York.
Actually, for our listeners that listening, the reason that this podcast episode is so important is because Ramsey is actually running for City Council for
Correct.
District 25, which is so important, especially in your backyard.
Yes, correct.
So as time goes on and whatnot, we're going to see some great things from Ramsey. But I just wanted to let our listeners know.
Yes, correct. And it's very important to go out and vote for the right candidate. It makes a big difference. And we're going to clarify some things today because a lot of people don't realize City Council means a lot. A lot of folks don't think it is that important. So we're going to go through that today to clear everything up so you can know when it's time to vote, you need to go and vote. Your vote does count.
That's right, yeah. Voting locally is really important. A lot of people kind of just stick to the presidential election.
Correct.
And forget about the mayor race and city council races. It's something that really needs to change. People need to understand that the city council is what fuels their district or their neighborhood and, gets them the necessary resources that they need to ensure safety and education and, a lot of the other perks that pertain to that. So people really need to start getting on board. That's one of the things that I kind of want to push for with my campaign is education in all fields when it comes to this. There's people that, when you're 16 years old, you could actually run for office already.
Wow.
Yeah,
no
way. Yeah, there's even if you have a criminal background, you can run for office. And we need to share this type of information. People feel held back a little bit too much, and especially in my district, my area of Elmhurst Jackson Heights, we feel held back. We're not being educated as highly as everybody else, and our neighborhood doesn't look as pristine as everybody else's.
Correct.
And that's because of the representatives that we currently have. So it definitely matters a lot to vote locally and to bring in city council and especially community boards.
Well, that's the one thing that I realized that even when I talk to all my friends, they always talk about the presidential election. They don't talk about primaries. They don't talk about a Senate, Congress, state Senate, state Congress, state House. And so with that, yes, this has had to be a conversation.
Correct.
With everybody. And also, too, especially what you said, sorry, not to do a little extra thing, is that even more so is no matter what we do with our lives and whatnot, it doesn't matter what your record was in the past, the education and knowledge that you had and the tribunals that you went through, especially what you said, you can run for office at 16 years old. Yeah. And even if you have a record, yes, at a certain point, we all have whatever type of record, not one way or another, but just in general, we were all
right.
So with that, anybody, and this is why America is America, they can always do great and better.
Yes.
So
always
my apologies.
Yeah.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
So in your view, how can City Council help small businesses?
Well, we need to do more, especially right now at this time where a lot of small businesses' doors are closing. Correct. They're not getting the necessary resources to them. They don't have, the programs in place for them to thrive a lot more. Right now, a lot of city council members are pushing for helping illegal street vendors to get, more benefits in a sense to where, the person that I'm running against try to bring in, a law, stating to decriminalize illegal street vending and, give them their space and allow sanitation to fine them for not having licenses. But this is the issue. We are allowing something that is not right? You need a license to be a street vendor, depending if you're selling food or if you're selling some type of product, but you need a license.
Correct.
If you're granting people the okay to just be out there and not have a license, so you're allowing criminality. So that's something that needs to be, checked, even though it was vetoed by the mayor. But these are some of the issues that are causing small businesses to close their doors. So some of the products that are being sold illegally in the street are being stolen from these small businesses. And then they go out and turn and sell it right there on the street. So that's an issue. So we need to protect our small businesses.
Correct.
We also need to provide a lot more services for them, allow them to be able to have a larger reach to the community. A lot of these businesses are kind of, it feels like they're introverted almost, in a sense where they're just kept in their small space. We want them to grow. We want small businesses to expand, because in our district, we need the small businesses to fuel the district,
Correct.
right? You need to have entrepreneurs and different businesses that are going to come in and thrive and do really good and attract a really good kind of fan base or, customer base to continue to come back, even if it's outsiders coming into the neighborhood for a reason of a restaurant or, a really cool sneaker store like All the Right that we have over in Corona Avenue. These are the types of businesses that need to continue to grow. We have on 82nd Street another really cool sneaker store called Ren Arts. And they're doing a lot with the community. They're stepping out of just, we're here to provide a service. They're providing a service and then reaching out to the community to ensure that everybody's like welcomed and learns about, how the small businesses actually do give back to the community.
And
Correct.
What's interesting about that is, and I'm just don't mind my nostalgic nature, but I was in the food business before I got into construction.
Okay.
I was hoping to get a food license for even a mobile truck. It was a 3-year waiting process. And even when I had my restaurants, I knew that I had to put into a storefront, get the health and hygiene license for food, do all these different things, obviously a lot of cost, because that's the way to do that. So what I'm understanding from what you just said is that local politicians that are currently or even campaigning for is saying, okay, no problem. Everything that every other small business owner went through, built a restaurant, built everything like that. Nope, perfectly fine. No rent on the street,
Right.
No costs and stuff like that. And you can sell any product that's not regular. That's what you're saying?
Yeah, that's basically what's going on, especially in my neighborhood. And if you go to Junction Boulevard, all you see is all types of vendors. People are just selling food out of shopping carts.
People
Turn
can get
them-
sick if they eat it.
Right.
There's no
Yeah.
ramifications.
There's-
You can't.
Wow.
Nothing. So, you could, get everybody sick in the neighborhood that's eating, from your cart. And then when they're all, in the hospital, then what? Then it just becomes whose issue, right? The person's
Becomes
issue.
a state.
Yeah.
Becomes a city. Becomes a financial drain.
Yeah, so it's an issue that has to be checked. The process of licensing for vendors should be changed. I do agree with that.
Okay.
It is a little too long. That wait that you had for 3 years, it should not be that way.
That is definitely too
if
long.
if you provide a plan and everything is in the books and everything looks right, that should be moved
Yeah.
forward and quickly. It shouldn't be held back. People shouldn't have to wait so long for them to get their business going.
Correct.
Knowing that they have their plan. But just to allow outsiders or anybody else to just be able to set up on a sidewalk and do these types of businesses, it's unfair to the person that worked hard and continues to work hard to have their business grow.
Correct.
So a lot of restaurants are basically, the lifeblood of Jackson Heights and Elmhurst.
Yes.
It's culturally, you can get all types of food. You
Yes.
get it from Polish to Italian to Colombian, Dominican, Mexican, El Salvadorian, Venezuelan, whatever. Whatever you kind of want is in that area.
Yeah.
Indian, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, you have Filipino. Nepali is now,
Yes.
a big presence there. Ecuadorian food. And these businesses are trying to have a restaurant, but their competition is right outside, right in front of
Correct,
them.
yes.
And selling things for more than half.
yeah.
Yeah, more than half the price. It's like
Yeah.
$5, you get a whole full plate of food. If you have to go inside the restaurant, that plate is going to cost you maybe $15.
But realize this too, it is not the same thing, and people are not thinking wisely either. You're looking at hygiene if you care about your body, right?
Right.
You don't know how that food was prepared.
Exactly.
And it's just selling out of, like you said, like a cart or just like a little thing that they make.
yeah.
You go in a restaurant, you're sitting in a clean environment. You're actually dining perfectly, whether it's your family or just yourself. It's a different experience. And the food is hot. It's cooked in the kitchen and brought right out to you.
Yeah.
And of course, the style is different because they do have a chef. So it is a major difference. But That's not good at all. So let me ask you this. I did see some video with these vendors that was in the train station selling mangoes and I think it was different fruit. So this is all part of that where they're not licensed.
Right, yeah. Illegal street vending is very, very large in New York. We understand that people do need to supply for themselves and provide for
Correct,
their families.
yes.
But again, everybody has to follow a certain set of rules. We can't just make exceptions for everybody. Then people are left out. Then it becomes a problem.
That's true.
Right. A lot of everything is about inclusion. All right. So let's include them into how things work and let's teach them, again, back to education, on how things work.
Correct.
We're not, or I should say, when I say we, I mean like as a city, as a country.
Yes.
For anybody that comes into this country brand new, we have to reach out to them. We have to show them the way. We kind of have to guide them, so that way they can assimilate to how it is to be over here. We can't just say, all right, you're here, have fun, go outside. There's gonna be issues with that.
That's the one thing that's been on my mind as I'm listening to both of you is that, okay, is it that local politicians are seeing, oh, well, we have a rapid amount of these street vendors. Well, the solution is just give them all licenses instead of actually saying these are in place for a reason. These are processes and these are safeties for a reason.
Right.
Because then at the same time in a society, where do you actually tell the business owner who is paying and investing all this money to not just say, you know what? Nope, I don't want this. I'm gonna be a street vendor as well.
Exactly.
Because you're giving everything to them. Why not
Right.
just do it myself?
Might as well close the door and I can just get a couple of carts myself and set up outside and nobody can tell me anything.
Exactly.
That's anarchy.
So that's what, yeah. And that's similar to, what I label what's happening in my area. It's lawless, and the lawless activity is allowed. So which brings me back to like that issue of, we're being held to a certain standard and to a certain level of what we can reach. That's what's stopping us, is the fact that the politicians are allowing certain things to continue to, downgrade our lifestyle or our quality of life. You have to stand up for the people of the neighborhood, your residents, the people that vote for you, your constituents. We can't just reach out. Yes, we want to help. This is what America does, right? We're built off of immigration and we want to help everybody that needs the help. But we can't just keep on giving and giving and giving and allowing things. We have to show structure. We have to provide some type of step process. You have to follow this to do that. You have to do this to get to where you want to go. We can't just say, just go outside, do as you please. And then that's when the trouble starts. That's when people start, acting in a manner that is just against societal rules. Like, we have to be better. And we need to communicate and educate each and every individual in our communities.
Yeah.
Be it that they're there for 100 years or they're just there 1 year. Everybody has to get an understanding of things. And at this point right now, the city feels a little loose with things. And when you go into certain neighborhoods, you can see it. If you go to the Bronx, you go around Fordham Road, you see what's going on there in comparison if you go to Fifth Avenue.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That's a complete difference. Correct. Same thing with 125th Street in Harlem. And then you go, to, say, Forest Hills. These are two different entities. Like, why does one look the way it does? And why is it being allowed to maintain to look that way? And why is one so clean, beautiful, and welcomed and allowed to stay that way?
It's definitely a separation, a gap between our society that, and even as a small business owner myself, hearing a lot of things, and I'm saying to myself, well, what's the reward for me actually following the rules? I mean, Preet, you've done a lot of things in your 10 years to say, we're not taking shortcuts. We have to do it the right way. So now where's the benefit of you doing it the right way compared to what they're proposing? It is a conundrum that really has to be in the mind of every New Yorker.
Correct.
And it can change, though.
Yes,
we can change it. It just takes
having the right people.
There it is.
That's it.
The right group of people together that have that voice to say, you know what, we're going to make a change, or we're going to make it better. We're going to teach. We're going to help in a way that you're going to be better after I taught you. Yes. I'm not just giving you something for you to just, okay, I'm going to accept it, and then that's it. You do nothing with it. You need to have the tools in place to help you to sustain yourself and grow.
Preach. So I'm right there.
Yeah, without those
Yes.
tools, we're not going to get anything. So,
And if people travel, a lot of people are traveling now, right? You go to other country. Oh my God, they're in the future.
Right.
What are we doing here?
right.
What are we doing wrong? It is like when you look at Dubai or you look at even China, right? We've been told different about China. Look at today now, all these video that you're seeing.
El Salvador.
Even
Yes.
there, Africa.
Yeah.
Right? We've
Yeah.
all think of Africa as this really bad place. and
Kenya is actually
So many beautiful cities.
oh my goodness.
Funny you mention
And-
that. The UN just said that they're transferring their headquarters from New York City as some of the programs that we house here for the UN to Kenya, because they feel that it would be better served to be the headquarters of these programs in Africa
Yeah.
for the world,
Wow.
not for Africa, for the world.
Yep.
So
It goes to show, where are we?
Yeah.
We're
I don't know.
going backwards.
this is the
Exactly.
conversation that we want to have.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I traveled last year to Europe and I was astonished. Switzerland, forget it.
I can imagine.
Oh my God. Forget it. And my latest travel was Dubai and forget it. They're in the future. We are so behind. Like everybody say America runs the world, right? But where are we really running to?
Right.
Where are we running to? Manhattan is beautiful. What about the rest?
Yeah.
It exists. So we definitely need, good people to run it and make it and, clean it up. That's what we really need is
What
clean
it
up.
really is,
Yeah.
New York City is the epicenter, right?
Yes.
We're the hub.
Everybody
of
wants to
everything.
come here.
We have the stock exchange here. We
Yeah.
have all the money runs through here. Style, fashion.
There you go.
name it. So
Yes.
it's New York. New York is the pinnacle, right? But we're not advancing.
Correct.
We're not moving forward. We're not stepping into the future. We're regressing. I look at my neighborhood and I feel like we're back. Maybe we got set back to the 70s in a sense, It's like, why? We're supposed to be in the future. We're supposed to have development. Things are supposed to look nice, new, fresh. We're supposed to have clean sidewalks. We're supposed to have, beautiful buildings, houses being developed or housing, zoning, and everything is just staying in this stagnant, way that needs the a kick in the ass to, push it forward.
Yeah.
And like you said, with the right people, we're good.
That's it.
You just brought up a great thought process. There's so many New York residents, and I'm just saying it for myself, is that we are living in Gotham. I'm just saying it out loud. That's my view. That's what I'm saying.
You're not wrong. I look for Batman almost every day.
Yeah, exactly. We're living in Gotham. I do a great amount of work, and I would think that I'm just surviving.
Right.
I am just surviving, and everybody I've talked to, whether they're doing good, they're just surviving. And we're talking about all of New York City. Everybody you talk to, and I'm not even a politician like you, I am hearing from everybody, nobody's doing anything. Not even people who are saying, I don't like the difference. I'm just paying bills and just surviving. They're not going out to vote. They're not doing this. They're not doing that.
Because there's no hope. Nobody's really providing that beacon of light.
Wow.
People are really stepping away from everything and kind of like submitting themselves, almost like just being sheep. Nobody's really trying to, grab the bull by the horns and say, you know what, I'm out here. I'm going to be the one to make a change and step up. And that's kind of one of the things that pushed me into politics. I'm just a dad from Elmhurst, Queens. I raise my kids. I work, try to take care of my family. And then just seeing the downward spiral of everything that's going on, it pushed me. I prayed about it a lot, and I felt, God instilled it in me and said, you know what, this is your time now to do this. I really wish I did it in my 30s. Like I'm 44 now, but it's God's time. It's not mine.
Correct.
Preet literally said just that on another episode. So
Yeah, you got to trust God's timing.
Yes, it's his timing.
His timing
It wasn't
is
meant
perfect.
for you at an earlier time. It's meant for you at a later time.
That's right. So
Yes.
that's what I feel pushed me into, being vocal, especially about my neighborhood and
Yes.
seeing what happened. I've been there my whole life.
Yes.
So I know what it looks like. I know what I envisioned as a child when I was older, what it was going to look like. And it's not what is outside.
Oh, I believe you for that.
We have prostitution, illegal street vendors. We have violent crime that happens almost daily. And it pains me. We have open air drug markets where people are, shooting up just on the side of streets. My son has to walk past needles on his way to school.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And he calls me on FaceTime in the morning, Dad, I'm walking to school. I'm like, okay. He's like, all right, I'm gonna show you something. And he turns the camera, and then, somebody laid out on the floor with a bunch of needles and and a sharps container, laying down next to him. We have people, doing crack literally in, right by schools. We have brothels 2 blocks away from my elementary school where I grew up.
Wow.
And that's, something that's alarming. And nobody was really saying anything until I started, being really vocal about it.
Well, speaking of that, you just said that you were being very vocal about it. What about who was there last time? Who's there now? Who's not being vocal? Yeah. How do they keep on getting elected?
Because people don't come out and they don't know who's out, and there's no actual other candidate to come out to fight the machine. Democrats really have a stronghold in that area. And, we have AOC as our representative. We have Senator Ramos, and in my district, the person I'm going against is Shekhar Krishnan. They follow, whatever trickles down to them and tells them what to do. Because if I'm in that position and I see what's happening, I'm not going to stay quiet. I don't care who's above me. I don't care. You tell me to be quiet. I'm not going to be quiet. We have to do this. We have to bring this change about. We have to show people that there's a future other than what it is that you see every single day. People get off the train, they're depressed. To come home is where the heart is, right? Home is where you lay your head and find peace. All right, it's cool every now and then you step off the train and you see something and you're like, all right, that's my neighborhood. It's quirky. Yeah. It gets to a certain point where it's like, all right, something's wrong. This isn't supposed to be this way. This is not how society functions. We can have order. We can have, beauty, but the people need to want it as well. If they're just going to be stagnant and stay, away, or just look the other way kind of mentality, that has to stop. Now it's time to care. You have to care about where you live. You have to care about what's happening around you. It's not going to just go away because, you wished it. You have to put some effort in. So, again, I feel like God pushed me into this and said, go outside, use your voice, use what I've given you to make noise. Mm-hmm. To make sure that you are doing something with purpose. I help people sign up for health insurance, and that's my daily thing. And that's a form of help, because I help people that, are low income or, recently come to this country, because even though you may not have immigration status, you can still get Medicaid,
Exactly.
Wow.
So there's help out there, and this is the help that I'm providing, but that's a job. Now, the help I want to provide is more closer, is more in depth and more hands-on to the community that I'm from and to the people in my neighborhood.
And just for transparency, even for the people who are listening, even this interview on this podcast, you've actually told us that you could not even film during the day and whatnot. When you actually think about people who are running for office, they are working everyday jobs. So even with yourself, we had to film this at a special time because you have a day job.
Right.
So now, besides that day job and raising a family, you're choosing to take every moment of your time to run for public office. Right. And sometimes they don't realize that is... A lot of people, you run, at the country club. Oh, yeah, no problem. They have all the money in the world.
Right.
But there is difference of somebody who is working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. They are still providing, they're still spending time with their family, and then still campaigning to run for city council. And that's why we're super happy and proud to have you on this podcast, because that is what's happening in our city. We're working 4 different jobs and doing everything like that, and going forward because it actually matters.
Correct.
So
you want to vote for someone like him.
Yes.
He's working. He has a family. He's supporting
He's
as
like
well.
everybody else in New York City. Not
so he knows the
plutocrat.
problems. That's the problem. I said he knows the problem. So he can fix these problems. That's the difference.
Everybody who's running for office, I don't know, when they first started out, they had $70,000 net worth. 2 years later, $22 million net worth and stuff like that.
So rich out of nowhere.
Yeah. Yes. And then all of a sudden, somebody comes around and actually speaks the truth of what's happening in the neighborhood. It's just like, oh, yeah, whatever. No, they're actually speaking for the people who live in the neighborhood.
And people don't know, our local people don't realize city council is major for them, because you can make that changes. They just don't have to vote for the mayor or the governor for those because it comes down to you guys.
Right.
Now, one thing you were saying before about, people your son was seeing on the street that was doing drugs and needle and all of that. Were those people living in that neighborhood by any chance, or were they just,
Honestly,
nobody knows?
Unfortunately, there's one young lady that I grew up with and has succumbed to this life of drugs. It's painful to see her in the street sometimes.
Sad.
Another guy that I went to high school with, I saw him the other day strung out, and I went up to him. I said, "This is not the life that I envisioned for you." And we went to high school together. We're the same age. I didn't picture you to be like this right now. I know you're better than this.
And I'm sure he never thought he would be doing that either.
And that's just, what's the reality of...
They gave up.
Yeah,
Yes.
They gave up, and this is what they chase. This is what they want. And the help, although they say it's out there, it really isn't. You don't see one-on-one conversations with these people because everybody knows where these locations are. So why isn't like the Department of Health and Hygiene outside
Shutting them down
to them,
Yes.
providing an actual service? They provide, the service of, oh, come here, you can get clean pipes and clean needles.
Oh, wow.
What
That's encouraging.
are we doing?
That's
Yeah,
encouraging
you're enabling people to continue this lifestyle. Although they say that, oh, well, as they come here, we can try to reach out to them. No, meet them where they're down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Meet them one-on-one. Go out in the street and talk to them. Help them. Show them. Guide them. And then that's the total disconnect that's happening with our city. Everybody that's in office kind of provides this facade, right? This fake,
Country clubs.
Yeah, this like, oh, we're so great. We're so beautiful. This is awesome. No, it's painful. It hurts to see people suffering. It hurts me. I'm a Pisces, so I feel pain from others.
Yes.
So I see somebody sad, I'm like, damn, this is going to bring me down. I got to try to help out. And that's what kind of comes out of me, where I see people in pain. I want to speak to them. I want to talk to them. I want to help out and see what direction can I get you into to help you feel better about yourself and your life. And that's not out there. No one's really trying to do that. They're allowing... Again, goes back to just allowing this lifestyle to hover over Elmhurst, Jackson Heights, Corona, even into Flushing, certain parts where things feel down. And, the people, they feel it too.
Of course.
And their voice is not being exalted, right? No one's really trying to say, this is what this whole neighborhood wants to change. And I feel like I call myself the people's champ because I say what everybody else is thinking, but doesn't say. And I say what everybody really wants to say loudly, and I use my loud voice for it. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you to my Caribbean background, my Haitian mom and my Dominican dad. We're loud, so I get loud. Yeah, I get loud. I talk fast and I get loud. But this is, what's missing in our city. People that are running for real purposes and with real heart. Everybody's kind of in place and, kind of picked by the uppers, like, oh, this guy's perfect for the next, let's implement him here, let's bring him here. And that's something that's not democracy, right?
But by all means, if you see me just bewildered and just like, I can watch somebody berate a Wendy's employee because they made their sandwich wrong. But if the governor or local congressman or local city council member doesn't do their job, they're like, okay, no problem, thank you, kiss babies, everything like that. Like, treat your politicians that, by the way, I have to say this out loud, we all pay for.
Yeah.
We pay for their salaries, we pay for their private cars, their security and everything like that. But yet, if somebody does something wrong in a fast food place, or if somebody does something wrong when you go to Marshall, please sponsor us. Not just kidding. No, but with that, they are ready to take all that rage of what they're getting in society out on that employee instead of taking the rage out on the politicians.
Yeah.
That are doing nothing.
That's what needs to. That's the other part that needs to change. People need to be more involved.
Yes.
Care about things that matter. Not because you got the order wrong. This guy's messing up your city.
Yeah.
This person's messing up your street.
Not your sandwich.
Yeah, not your sandwich. This is where you live. This is what you have to walk on. It looks like crap.
Yes.
We have potholes everywhere. Nobody's doing anything about it.
Let's not talk about the Van Wyck.
The Van
Because I'm telling you.
It's my whole life.
I drive every morning to work on that. And nobody believes it. I'm like, I'm sitting there sitting there in traffic. Oh, what? You're just late to work.
No, it's
There
the
was a
Van
video
Wyck.
that I saw of the Van Wyck, someone saying that the Van Wyck has always been under construction. There was a comment that I saw in there. The guy was like, this is from 1980. It's been having construction. And I'm like, what are they doing on the short? The Van Wyck is not that long, right?
Right.
What are they doing all this construction on? And the work that they've done on the service road, horrible.
They've made more potholes.
Your vehicle is going like this. You're going to break off a wheel in a week driving on that twice a day.
But don't
Like,
worry,
it's-
nobody will get mad that their vehicle
Yeah.
gets a flat tire or if their suspension is broken.
Oh my
but
God.
like I said, like I'm bringing it back. When I put pickles on a thing, you
Yeah.
literally act
Yeah.
like as if life is over. Just,
And that's where it comes into play too, where the right people in city council and on the community board can hold other, the transportation department, hold them accountable. Why are we still fixing the Van Wyck?
Yeah.
Why are we still throwing money in there?
Wait, just because I'm not knowledgeable, the city council, what does that do? What does community boards do? I'm not educated.
So the city council, you would picture it. So for each district, you have a representative that would be the president of that district.
Okay.
Right. So you bring the issues to the community board. The community board liaisons those issues. So city council finds a way to get that taken care of. Deal with laws. The budget as well, who's getting distributed the funds that come in from the city and go to our city departments. The laws like policing reform and the soft on crime laws that we have here that need to be, reverted back to, we're being tough on people for committing crimes. Things like that is basically what the city council has power over. And you can also hold subpoenas and hold other people accountable, other departments of the city, and hold them accountable for their lack of work, or if they're stealing or anything like that. City council can actually hold meetings and things against people that are committing crimes within our city departments.
The community boards, I've heard a couple things here and there because on a couple of projects that we were trying to bid on, the community boards had some type of influence on that. Community boards, I realize as I'm reading more into it, have an immense amount of power.
Yeah.
In your area. I mean, we're talking about if you want to have a 80-story a condo building.
Anything real estate related, zoning, it goes to the community board first, and that has to trickle.
So
to
they
the
basically get it out the gates.
Yeah.
Who actually has the power to put people on the community boards? Because I kind of heard a rumor that it was city council.
City. You can vote for people to be on the community board.
So that's even more, strategic to actually vote locally and to actually go. So basically, if you're living on this block, the person who's actually deciding how this block is run maybe be a block away,
Right.
instead of the mayor, president,
Right,
senator,
exactly. Always
everything like
yelling at the highest up on the totem pole. We got to get them from the bottom. It starts from the bottom. It starts from home,
Yep.
and people don't realize that. They just
Correct.
want to blame, all right, it's Trump now. Let's blame
Yep.
Trump. Before it was Biden, blame Biden.
Blame
Yeah.
this
You
senator, blame this congressman.
Blame.
Every place is
We
controlled.
have to start
Yep.
in the core
Yeah.
of where it is,
Correct.
and that's right at home. And if people start voting more during this time, they can see, okay, this person, I kind of know this person from my neighborhood. I don't want them in control of what's going on out
Yes.
here. That person's not even knowledgeable about it. But nobody's really paying attention, and they end up on the ballot, and people just vote down the line.
Nobody's paying attention to the name.
Yeah. So now all
Correct.
of a sudden, this person's on the community board, and then causing hell in your neighborhood because nothing's getting done. Everybody's just collecting
Yeah.
a check, trying to get through the week, make it to the weekend because they're all off on weekends, and they kind of finish all working at 5 p.m. and everything is fine, but the real work still needs to be done, and nobody's doing it.
You know what stinks, and I promise I'll allow you guys to talk because I kind of feel like I'm asking every question. The devil works hard, and I say that not in the sense of say religions like that, but I'm just saying in general, like there are people out there that strategically make sure that they're in power, even in the community board and certain things for their own self-interest, not of the community's interests. And they get away with it because everybody's just say, oh, I'm too tired. I don't want to, I'm depressed. I don't want to. Yeah, there's a cycle that's going on because you're not doing anything in your local community to even vote. So yes, you're always going to be depressed because things never change because nobody votes. And people who know how it works, they go in power and they get what they want.
A lot of people do it for face value, right? I'm on the community board. I'm the city council. I'm this, Some people get in the way just to get on the ballot and say, look, I was on the ballot. Bro, we're here to work. I need people that want to work and do things.
Yes.
I don't care about face value. I'm
Correct.
not trying to be there to be like the next face of this or that, whatever. No, I don't care. I want to fix the neighborhood. Yes. I want to make this an example. And I know I can change that neighborhood to become like the example for everybody else to follow because it's there. Everything that is necessary is there already. And it starts with the people. The people are great and they're so open to change and they're so welcoming to something new and fresh and vibrant and beautiful. We have so many cultures. We are the most diverse city, or I say the most diverse community in all of the world.
100%. You hit it.
Every walk of life kind of lives in Elmhurst and Jackson Heights and Corona. You can pick a country. Somebody from that country lives
there
in that area.
Yes.
So if we can get along so well, right? We respect each other. Everybody's religion is respected. Everybody's culture is respected. Their foods are respected. If we can manage that, why is it so looked down upon from that area? Why is everybody so down? Why is everybody so messed up? Why is everybody living the wrong way? We can develop that. That's supposed to be the real Shangri-La, right?
Yes.
Where everybody's can live together and it's in harmony and it's beautiful. But we are still being allowed to fall under. Education's not pushing us forward. Our restaurants, yes, they're great, but can they be greater? Yes. Just regular small businesses are being pushed out. It's cool to have, big box stores and things of that nature come in, but we want to make sure that our small businesses can still be out there and for them to franchise out on their own if they want to.
And I think you actually brought it full circle, especially on how this conversation was started. And I think you rounded it out really well. Is that when you allow others to do things and you have not set a voice or voted and such, then things are going to change. And they're not going to change for you. They're going to go against you. That's right. So with that all encompass, it's up to the local community to actually dictate their terms. Right. And if you don't have a voice in it, or if you don't elect somebody like how you were just saying, your stature of saying, I want my neighborhood to change, then don't complain because you got what you deserve.
Correct.
The community you got is because you stood still and you said, I don't want to deal with it. All right, well, great. Your food cost is going to go up. Your neighborhood is going to go to, shambles as far as allowing some of this criminal activity or even the standards to go about, and stop blaming everybody else instead of just going to the voting booth and put somebody in charge that's actually speaking for you.
Yeah. If people actually paid attention and, listened out for, real candidates and for people that are really trying to represent for them, New York City would look completely different. I feel like we would be in that future Dubai kind of look, but nobody's really trying to push for that. Yeah. Everybody's really like,
divided.
Good where I am.
Yep.
Leave me in my space right here. I'm good. My block's nice. I don't know about 2 blocks down, but my block's nice. Come on, let's get it together out here already. Yeah. Let's make it so where all of New York City is on point.
Next, my block is nice, but now next year, seems as though your nice block seems appropriate for somebody who likes that block, and that bad block is turning into your good block, and it'll become a bad block as well.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
It kind of just all trickles down, right? Certain neighborhoods in Rego Park, at some point, you started seeing more illegal vendors start going over there. Rego Park is a little bit nicer than Elmhurst, which is its neighbor, and then you start seeing that trend of what's happening and what's being allowed in Jackson Heights and in Elmhurst start to go into Rego Park, go into Kew Gardens, and then it's going to start to go infiltrate into Forest Hills. But then the representatives of those areas are like, whoa, hold on. We're not Jackson Heights. We're not going to allow it, Bayside doesn't look anything now they're underwater, unfortunately, because of all the rain that happened.
Yes.
Hopefully they can recover from that quickly. But, that's a beautiful neighborhood. And I have a beautiful neighborhood, but there's a lot of cleaning to do to make it, to buff it out and make it exactly what it really should be.
And the one thing that I think why it hits home so much, especially for this podcast, is because Preet started this podcast, her business is in Queens. It's been started in Queens. She just celebrated 10th anniversary, her being business in
awesome.
Still in the same spot
Yes.
in Queens and grow exponentially, but only due to the resources of the neighborhood to allow that to happen. So when the neighborhood goes down, it's
we've
so
seen
sad.
what that can do with
Yeah.
just, the wrong people living in the neighborhood and just drugs and all these other things that get involved that makes a bad neighborhood. But this has been a juicy conversation.
I think we need a
Oh,
second
yeah.
one.
So we're going to have part 2 of this. So we're going to move on. This will be the end for this podcast today. Stay tuned for part 2. It's going to be even juicier. And thank you all for watching. And if you'd like to be a part of our podcast, please do send us a message and subscribe so you can see all the podcasts when we have them coming out. Thank you.
Also, too, is that we have on the website resources and everything that would be available
Available.
for the districts that are going on and education.
Correct. Thank you very much.
Thank you.